From choosing where to go and finding the perfect romantic accommodation, all the way to planning activities that are guaranteed to make you swoon, this video is going to walk you through step-by-step how to plan the perfect romantic getaway. Happy Valentine's Day, my friends. In case you're new here, hi, I'm Christina from happytowonder.com, and this channel is all about practical travel tips. So be sure to like and subscribe if that sounds like your kind of thing. We'll start with step one, which is choosing where and when to go. More so than any other trip, a romantic getaway is more about the company than the destination. But at the same time, you don't want to be stuck somewhere really crappy. So here's what you do. Start with a big list. Whether you're planning this as a surprise or you're doing it together, I would recommend brainstorming pretty much all the places that you've always wanted to go to together, or in the case that it's a surprise, then really dig deep and think about places that they've said they really want to go to. If you want to be especially creepy or thoughtful, depending on how you spin it, you can also ask their friends or maybe consult their Pinterest boards as well. In addition to that, I would also do a quick search on Google, Pinterest, and TikTok just to find some ideas. If you want to go really deep in your research, you can also check the local tourism boards of the potential areas that you're visiting, just because most of the time they'll have a more thorough list rather than just the most popular places. Next, I would take a realistic look at your budget and your time constraints and let that guide you. If you only have a weekend, for instance, you might want to consider doing a staycation, or maybe just a place that's an hour or two away. Go through the list and cross out any unrealistic ones, at least for right now. Do this until you have a short list of 3 choices max, or if you have one place that you really want to plan for, all the better. Next, with this short list in hand, if there's still no clear winner, you can move on to the next step, which might help sway your decision, and that's to find accommodation. Now, everybody has different preferences when they travel in terms of accommodation. So before you start your search, I would recommend really deciding what your main priority is going to be for this trip in terms of spending. So whether that's going to be spending a lot more money on a lavish and really nice hotel, or something cheap and cheerful so that you can spend more money on experiences and meals out instead. More so than normal trips though, I do think it's quite important to prioritize nicer accommodations because that's really going to set the tone for your romantic getaway. Assuming you want a place that has romantic vibes, then again, I would turn to Google, Pinterest, and TikTok to find some ideas. Some of the terms that I might want to search for include places with a nice view, places with romantic on-site amenities like a spa or room service, late checkout, a nice bathtub rather than just a shower, or even things that are ultra romantic like rose petal turn down service, which apparently some places actually do offer. So searching up hotels in your destination plus those parameters might help you narrow down your search. If you are more budget conscious, however, I do have a full video about the step-by-step process that I use to find the best deals on hotels every time. But remember that there are ways to make hotels feel romantic, even if it's more of a budget place, whether that's bringing your own LED candles, your own chocolates, champagne, little touches like rose petals. So don't stress out if you can't afford a place with all these amenities. You can often just bring them on your own. Now, the most important thing, regardless of your budget, is to make sure you read reviews. And I don't just mean looking at the star rating, the average star rating on Google reviews. I mean going into the reviews of that hotel and then sorting by newest and also looking at the 1-star reviews as well. Because the thing is, a lot of the time with the star ratings that you see, that actually refers to the average rating over the course of many years. And so oftentimes what happens is if you find a really good deal for a hotel, you don't realize that that deal is happening because there's renovations going on in the hotel, or maybe the hotel's a bit dated these days, etc. So that's why it's really helpful to sort by most recent reviews, so then that way you have a good idea of what the hotel looks like now. In looking at 1-star reviews as well, you can kind of get a gauge for what the worst case scenario might be. So I would definitely not skip that step because a lot of the time places can look amazing in the photos, but actually in reality, it's a different story. So make sure you do not skip this step. Now, once you've decided on the accommodation, I would really try to book it as soon as possible, especially if you're booking for a busy period like around Valentine's Day. And if you're booking a hotel specifically for its amenities like a spa or massages or anything like that, then I would definitely take the extra step and call the hotel just to make sure that they do have availability for you to book into those amenities. Because sometimes in the off season, hotels will have to do restorations on a lot of their amenities. So the spa might be unexpectedly closed and that's why you have a good deal. Or they might be fully booked that weekend with some kind of special event. So make sure you call them in advance if you're booking for a specific amenity, because the last thing you want is to show up and realize that you can't actually use the amenity that you booked for. And in the case that you're trying to book a massage or treatment, do try to do that as soon as possible as well to avoid disappointment. Lastly, when you're booking, always put in the booking box that you're celebrating a special occasion, whether that's Valentine's Day, an anniversary, a birthday. Even if that's not necessarily the case, you can just say you're celebrating late, okay? Because you never know, they might give you an extra perk like a free bottle of wine or some chocolates waiting for you in the room. Now, the next step would be to book transport. This would include getting there, getting to your accommodation, and also how you're going to get around the destination once you're there as well. If there's flights involved, usually I'll hop on Google Flights to find the best deal, and you can watch this video to see the step-by-step process that I use to do that. If you're exploring other options like buses or trains, then websites like Omio and Rome to Rio are really great, because then you can enter your point A and your point B, and it'll show you all the different options in terms of how to get there. Lastly, if you're looking into a rental car, Discover Cars is a nice platform that you can use to search up all the different car rental places at the same time. Now, in terms of which transport to book, I will say again, this depends on your budget and what your priorities are, but with a romantic getaway, more so than any other kind of trip, I would say you should really prioritize the option that's the most convenient and the most comfortable, because by the time you arrive, you want to be refreshed and relaxed. You don't want to be stressed out and sweaty and gross. So more so than normal, I would say try to pick the option that's the nicest. And if you want to take things up a notch, the transportation aspect of your trip is actually a really fun opportunity to potentially surprise your partner. So let's imagine you're planning the trip together. You can say, oh, I'll handle the transport. We're going to just take the hotel shuttle bus. It's really easy from the airport and really cheap. Then maybe what you can do is actually book a private transfer from the airport to the hotel. Oftentimes this isn't that expensive. I've used welcome pickups before, and they always greet you with a nice sign with your name on it. So I think this could be a really cute touch. You could maybe even put a ridiculous nickname or an inside joke or something on that sign. And I think that would really set the tone for a nice romantic getaway. Or you can take things one step further and even surprise them with a flight upgrade. But if that's not in the budget, don't stress about it. Your money is probably better spent on activities and meals. Plus, I do always say, if you put a little bit of thought into it, you can honestly make any experience a little bit more romantic. So let's say you can't afford to book a private driver to bring you to the hotel. If you do have to take the shuttle bus, there are ways that you can still make that feel quite special. So off the top of my head, some cheesy ideas might be to bring some of their favorite snacks and be like, oh, here's some snacks for the road. Or you can make a special playlist that's curated specifically for the time frame that it takes to get from the airport to the hotel, you know, cheesy love songs or like inside joke songs, whatever. So long as you put a little bit of thought into it, you can honestly make this so romantic without even spending a ton of money. Next, it's time to figure out visas and documents. Now, obviously this is going to depend 100% on which destinations you're choosing and also your passport. So I'm not going to go into detail with this, but just remember that that is a part of the travel planning process as well if you're traveling abroad. So don't forget it, it's very important. It's not a romantic getaway if one of you gets denied at the border. So remember to sort that out, especially when it's a surprise trip, because sometimes you forget that you have to handle that aspect of things as well. Now onto the fun stuff, which is to plan activities. This sounds basic, but when it comes to activities, honestly, the most important thing is that you tailor the itinerary to stuff that you and your partner enjoy doing so that you're not necessarily just following the one-size-fits-all itineraries for every single tourist. With a romantic getaway, the more personal, the better. And if it's a surprise getaway that you're organizing, I would honestly say to tailor it a little bit more to the things that your partner likes to do rather than being selfish and choosing things that you want to do specifically. Now, if it's a joint effort, what I would recommend is for both of you to make an independent list of things that you want to do. So don't consult with each other about it, just go off on your own, do a bit of research things to do in your destination, and create a short list. Then afterwards, get together, compare those lists, and obviously circle all the ones that are in common so you know for sure that you're gonna do those. And I would also recommend having one compromise activity each. So that's at least one thing that one person wants to do, the other one doesn't wanna do. That way you both get one thing that you really wanna do and you have like free reign to drag them on it even if they don't wanna go. Of course, in addition to the usual touristy stuff, it does help to add some overtly romantic activities as well. Some things I might want to research for the itinerary might be restaurants with a view, bars or rooftop bars with a view, and photogenic spots where you can get some cute photos together. Honestly, TikTok is by far the best app for finding these activities. I feel like Instagram sometimes has stuff, but their search function is really, really bad. And when you're just Googling things, usually you'll get some very generic lists. So TikTok is actually my go-to for finding cool photo spots or cool places to eat and nice bars as well. And just remember when you do find these restaurants or bars, if it's possible, make a reservation for them as far in advance as you can, just because you really don't want to be stuck in a situation where you've planned your entire evening around a nice place just to find out they're completely full or they're unexpectedly closed. If you're not able to make a reservation, I would at least have one backup that's kind of in the same area. That way, if things are falling apart, you can just be like, it's okay, I have a backup, and then go to that place instead. Now, in addition to that, for optimal romance points, I would add 2 additional activities. The first is something that's an unexpected surprise. So as you can probably tell, I love a good surprise, and I think that that can really elevate a romantic getaway and make your partner feel super special. So here's a super easy trick for creating the perfect surprise situation during your romantic getaway. So I would look at that list of things that they said they want to do and take a close look at all the different activities and then identify if there's something on that list that maybe you can take to the next level. So let's imagine they really wanted to go to a specific museum. Well, does that museum offer after hours access or before hours access? Or maybe look into whether or not the museum offers a special dining experience or some kind of unique event that they don't necessarily advertise really heavily. Or if they really want to go to see a specific lake or a specific beach, try to see if they offer boat tours or any special experiences around that area. Anything you can do to take something that's already on their to-do list and kind of elevate it and make it even more special, that's going to be the ultimate surprise. And again, it doesn't have to be expensive. I am such a sentimental person that honestly, if at the end of a difficult hike, someone presented me with my favorite soda, I would probably cry. So just try to think of small, thoughtful things that can really elevate one of the existing items on their to-do list. The other thing you should make sure you do is try to create a moment where it's just you two. So again, it depends on where you're going, but a lot of the time when you're traveling, you'll find that there's not actually that many instances, apart from when you're at the hotel, that you're completely alone because there's always other tourists, there's always other people. But the key to making an experience feel very romantic is to have a bit of intimacy and make it feel like it's just the two of you. This could be as easy as waking up early and going for a walk before the crowds arrive, or even staying up late and walking home from the bar late at night when there's no one else around. Or you can just organize a quiet picnic somewhere secluded. Either way, having a moment where it feels like you have the destination all to yourself is really the key to making a romantic getaway feel completely unforgettable. Overall, I think spontaneity is great, but I would make sure to have at least one big activity planned per day of the trip so that no matter what, even if you decide to, sleep in, or if you can't decide what you want to do for the day, you at least have one big activity that will make the day feel like it wasn't a waste. Now next is of course to just go on the trip. And this part is gonna seem self-explanatory. I mean, you just go do the fun activities that you planned, etc. But one thing that I wanna emphasize is at all costs, make sure you're actively trying to avoid arguments because nothing kills a romantic getaway more than a random argument, and trust me, every couple goes through these, so you do have to take active measures to ensure that you are preventing these arguments before they happen, because travel is a stressful situation and can often bring out the worst sides of us. And the best way to prevent these arguments is really to just identify potential points of tension in advance and make sure you diffuse those bombs before they explode. Some common points of tension in any couples trip might be when one person is the planner and the other person is too relaxed and they act like they don't care and they don't contribute to the conversation. That's often something that creates an argument. Another one might be someone being unhelpful, making decisions like, where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know, I don't care, you decide, that kind of thing. Another big one is different expectations of what they thought the trip was going to be. So oftentimes couples might fight because one of them wanted a chill vacation, but the other one wanted to sightsee as much as possible, or they wanted to get cute photos in a place, and the other person doesn't want to feel like they're being employed taking photos for the entire trip. So definitely the key here is to kind of communicate your expectations in advance. Now, most of the time, the fights that you have when you're abroad are similar to the fights that you have at home. So really, the best way to figure out what you might potentially fight about is to just look at your day-to-day lives and see where the points of tension are. And then when you're on the trip, make sure that you are doing as much as possible to not rock the boat in those aspects. Honestly, communication is key. Having a bit of extra patience is key as well, because travel can be very stressful. Now, as a bonus tip, do remember to take as many photos as possible and also to collect little mementos throughout the trip, whether that's keeping your train tickets or getting little receipts or little trinkets here and there, because the final bonus step of planning the perfect romantic getaway is to create and give them a memento of the trip after it's over. Whether that's just a framed photo or a little shadow box with all your mementos in it, trust me, when you gift your partner a fun memory from the trip, you are going to be raking in brownie points for the rest of your life. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful, and let me know in the comments if you need any more help, because clearly I love this stuff. And like and subscribe for more travel videos just like this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.